Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Level 2 has begun. So I just pulled the trigger. I took SDSU on the money line to beat UNLV. And I took the Nevada Wolfpack. I got 4.5 with Nevada against Boise State. I went bigger on San Diego State. But I didn't go crazy on the plays, but I did put more on San Diego State. 1-0 for the LA Kings right now over the Vancouver Canucks. And one of the problems the Canucks have had as of late is, and this has been a problem for them, it wasn't a problem earlier in the year. We talked about it a little bit with McKinnis is, though, and I talked about it a lot earlier in the year, the Canucks would score like on limited shots, right? Like they bury their opportunities when they get them. They have a bunch of snipers on the team. So like the Canucks will, you know what I mean? They'll have 10 shots on goal and 3 goals or something like that, right? But it's not sustainable. It's sort of like I guess a good comparison. It's sort of like a basketball team living on the 3 ball. I used an analogy for the Canucks that they're like a football team that can throw the ball, but you can run on them, right? Like they've got to toughen up. I guess it's the best. That's the moral of the story. They got to toughen up a little bit. And toughening up, this is one of the reasons why, like a good example, right now, they only have 3 shots on goal right now. All right? They played 13 minutes of hockey, you have 3 shots on goal. You can't win. Point, you're not going to win in the NHL if you have 3 shots on goal in a period. Just, I don't care like how good your goalie is, so you're not going to win. And to get these shots on goal, they've got to fight for their space more. It's reflective. You know what I'm saying? Like they skate around. So when you watch them, it's not like they're playing badly, but they've got to do more. Like you've got to dig down deeper. All right, we'll welcome SiriusXM back here in a second as we're rolling along. Shout out to everybody joining us on SiriusXM channel 159. This is Sports Rage on the SportsGrid radio networks, but you already know that. Shout out to everybody watching us on SportsGrid television and all of our television affiliates, networks, and apps, in which there are many of. Go to sportsgrid.com/where to watch to find out where the best spot for you to watch the show is. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Big man on campus going to step up on in, and we'll see what he thinks about the UNLV game and the Nevada Boise State game. San Diego State and UNLV, Nevada and Boise State. The Mountain West, it really has been. Like, I'm not, I was going to say it's one of the better conferences in college basketball. I don't want to, like, get crazy here. But it's been very competitive. It's been a solid year of basketball in the Mountain West this year. And the Mountain West is actually, this conference has withstood the new world, right, of college sport. Put it this way. If somebody would have asked you 10 years ago, or like whatever, in the past, if somebody would have asked you that, or told you that, yeah, the Pac-12 won't exist anymore. Like USC is going to be in the big, like the Pac-12, they'll be in the Big Ten and all that. The Pac-12 will fall apart and they'll all turn on each other and they're all going to leave and the Mountain West will still be standing. You'd be like, yeah, come on. Like a couple of years, it wasn't that long ago, trust me, like people around in the Mountain West. I lived in Mountain West country, and the Mountain West has always sort of been, there were a couple of times it was on the verge of breaking through, right? It's, like in the old, they had Boise State, they had TCU, they had BYU, right? Like, so for football, like basketball, they're okay, but like for football, they used to like have more. Like they were in the mix more. They were on TV, right? Like the crazy BYU games and the old crazy Boise games and stuff. Those were Mountain West games. TCU were in the Mountain West. They had a good thing going, and, all right, they didn't keep up. They signed a couple of bad TV deals, and, teams started to leave and stuff. But if you look at them in the big picture, they've sustained, right? They survived the anarchy of college sport. And quite frankly, I don't know what's taking so long for the Beavers and the Cougars just to join them right now. Like, Washington State and Oregon State, you guys can sue everyone you want. You can complain and you can try to get money from people, and you'll get money because they don't have a choice but to pay you on the way out because you're in the way, right? But with all that being stated, playing the victim card that's what got the Pac-12 in the situation you guys got in by not being aggressive and being proactive. You're always a step late. And Washington, you notice, you know what I mean? Like Washington State and Oregon State are really just sort of playing the victim card all the time now. And it's like, okay, whatever. You got left out. It is what it is. And I don't know why you guys thought the Big Ten would want you. Like, seriously. You think, and no offense to Washington State, but you know what I mean? You think like the Big Ten, it would be really great if we got Washington State in our conference. It's a cold-ass world. But the thing is, and you got a good basketball team, it's perfect. Go to the Mountain West. Same with the Beavers. Go to the Mountain West. Right? The Mountain West got a good thing going on right now, and then you make it stronger. Right? They got good basketball now, and you make their basketball stronger. You help the football out. You make it stronger. And then you have an opportunity to win the damn conference right now and get into the college football playoff, which you never would have before. Like, if you're the Cougars or the Beavers, it's actually good for you. Right? It's bad. It sucks that the Pac-12's gone, and I just can't get over that. But, whatever. It's done. So a big man on campus is going to step up in a couple of minutes. I misread the Kansas State-Kansas game. Kansas are murdering them. It's 73-47 right now. There's only about 5 minutes left. Auburn have pulled away on Missouri. They're up 76-61. Conference tournament action is going on right now. I want to get a couple other stories I wanted to get to. I tweeted out the picture. So the Oakland Athletics posted a picture, a rendering of what the stadium would look like in Las Vegas. And I don't know, evidently the architecture and the people that put this thing together, have never seen what a baseball stadium looks like before, and basically have copied the Sydney Opera House. That's what we've done with this thing. It's, their scoreboard is sideways, on an angle and stuff. That's a lot of green in there too, man. I got, leave this picture up here. This one right here is the one that really baffles me, actually. So, you guys make a rendering of your stadium. It's not even correct. Beside it is the Excalibur. The Excalibur's on the other side of the street. You did a rendering of what the stadium is going to look like, and you couldn't even get the buildings beside it properly. So this. So this shot, what angle is this from? So where is this from? Is this from the Strip? It is. So this what when you drive by, so this is the angle from the Strip, I guess? Does that look like a baseball stadium to you? It's the Sydney Opera House. What the hell is this thing? As a betting man, I'm not sure this thing's going to get. Put it this way, it's so bad that the Oakland Athletics had to turn off their comments and replies on Twitter, but they are the Oakland Athletics after all.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. It's just that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
4.22. The fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. It's a Twisted Tuesday. The Ridge Reddick, Cam Stewart off this evening. Rick Saratella's going to step up and in level 3. AllAccessFootball.com, the founder of the NFL Draft Bible, will recap the Indy Combine. There's a lot of NFL stuff going on. And in fact, we're joined by an Eagle fan right now. And I'll ask him if he wants Saquon Barkley to be a Philadelphia Eagle with big man on campus. Like to see that. What's going on, big man? How you doing tonight, my man?
I'm great. How are you, Gabe? Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, good stuff. Listen, bro, before we get to the Saquon stuff, college basketball, Mountain West is where it's at tonight. They've had a fun year this year. And I was just saying, if you're at Washington State and you're the Beavers, you're Oregon State, stop the victim stuff. You didn't get invited to the big dance with everybody. Just join the Mountain West and get it over with, right? And make the Mountain West even stronger. And they got a good college basketball conference going on right now. These games should be real battles tonight. So San Diego State's on the Strip and Vegas off the Strip at the Thomas and Mack. They own them, bro. They've beaten them 6 straight times. They've beaten them 9 of the last 10 times that they played. The last time UNLV beat the Aztecs outright was in 2020. What are your thoughts on this game this evening? UNLV 9-1 straight up in their last 10.
Yeah, and they actually played San Diego State pretty well the first time, given the circumstances. I mean, anytime you can keep the game, within 10 or less in San Diego, I feel like, that's about as good as you can ask for. They're a very good team at home. UNLV didn't shoot the ball real well, and they were still able to keep it pretty close. I just don't really trust UNLV. To think they can just win this game is a stretch. San Diego State's really good. It seems like they're coming on right at the right time. But as you said, so is UNLV. I mean, this team has lost just one time since January 23rd. I mean, they're pushing
that Nevada game that you and I talked about. They had the freaking lead, bro. They were up by 10 with like 6 minutes left or something.
Yeah, they're playing really good basketball, man. I mean, this has been a weird season for them. I mean, this is a team that lost to Southern University. They lost to Loyola Marymount. And
Air
then
Force.
They found ways. Yeah, right. By 32? They're a weird team. I don't know. Both teams are playing well, and I like them both. I think San Diego State's kind of a juggernaut. We don't give enough credit to Brian Dutch. I mean, what a great coach he is. He's had a week to prepare for this game. They haven't played in nearly a week. They do have a big game on deck as well on Friday night against Boise, so maybe you're looking ahead a little bit. It's a tough game. I like both teams. I didn't bet it.
I played San Diego State money line, and I respect what UNLV's doing. I think next year UNLV then maybe they can do something for real, right? And have a good year and actually make it to the tournament. But the step up in class, big man, is just a little bit much for me here. This is a big game for San Diego State. They're all jockeying for
the under makes
Yeah,
some
you
sense.
think it's a battle.
Yeah,
it's fallen to 129.5 already because no one scored in 2 minutes. It's scoreless 2 minutes in.
It's really low. I mean, both these teams play very slow. San Diego State, as we know, is an elite defensive team. UNLV's been great on defense, too, this year. I think this is a real kind of rock fight. I mean, as you mentioned, it's a slow start as well. 2 minutes in, nobody scored. I think 130 could be a bargain at this point.
What do you think about Nevada and Boise State, in which this one I sprinkled a little bit for some fun here on the show, and I took the underdog. I'm expecting this to be a close game as well, although I never really fully know what I'm going to get out of Nevada, right? But to me, like, Nevada will let me down when they're a favorite, and then they'll surprise you on the road, and they've actually been a pretty good road team, actually, by college team standards, big man. They've been competitive on the road, this team.
Yeah, and I think they're going to get Keenan Blackshear back tonight, which I think will help. I got to tell you, I've had a tough time in Nevada. I haven't really been able to figure them out much. But I'll tell you, there's one team that I really like and have figured out, and it's Boise. This team's been just really good at home. I mean, you look at their last 4 or 5 games, they've been dominant, winning every game. They're a great rebounding team. I love them defensively. And I like this kid, Max Rice. I think he's a real player. I think he's a guy that a lot of people are going to know about in 2 or 3 weeks. 2 really good teams, though. I don't know that there's 5 points difference between them. Nevada's still kind of desperate. I think one more win. I think they're in for sure. One more win, I think, would help them considerably. Again, another game I found very tough. I think Boise wins, but I think the game's probably close.
Big man on campus, kick it with us. Big man, I thought K-State would hang around with Kansas tonight, but I guess Kansas were due. Sort of smoke somebody. They've been struggling for the last couple of weeks. But K-State historically, you know what I mean? It's a rivalry game. These two teams have played pretty tight. This is kind of this loss going to hurt K-State in the fashion that they're losing right now. But just got away from them, bro. I mean, they were only down by 7 at the half. And 87-62 right now. Kansas just pummeled them in the second.
I think you just said it perfectly. I said this morning I do a show with another place, and I kind of mentioned I thought this was a get-right game for Kansas. They hadn't played well in a while. Remember, Kansas State beat them a couple of weeks ago. I've said before, I am not a fan of Jerome Tang. I don't think he's a good coach. I think he inherited a really good roster last year and rode the high to a job. He reminds me a lot of Ed Orgeron. I think he's a lot of bark, no bite. I don't think he's a real good coach. And this team has had
our
major
boy chicken
issues.
On a stick. Mr. Chicken on a stick at the gas station.
That's what he is. I think he's a nice guy. I think people like him. But the truth is, K-State is a very low IQ basketball team. They take a lot of bad shots. They turn the ball over like crazy. They're a very helter-skelter team. And they have been very poor in this conference. I know it's really good. I expected a lot more out of them this year, but I think he is just who he is. I thought it was a good bounce back for Kansas at home tonight.
It was a busy night on the college hardwood this evening. And the tournaments have begun. The conference tournaments have begun. Have you been keeping your eye on which conference tournament has intrigued you this week the most?
I'll tell you what, the Atlantic Sun's been fun. A lot of people don't really care much about, the Lipscombs and the Jacksonvilles of the world. But, the game of the night tonight was Lipscomb, North Alabama. Gabe, I don't know if you saw that ending. So North Alabama's guard, KJ Johnson, played at Lipscomb for 3 years, transfers to North Alabama, hits a buzzer beater in Lipscomb, and they advance. What a great game. They were 7-point dogs. They got the outright win. That's been a fun tournament. Look, Gabe, I will say I had Milwaukee tonight against lowly Detroit Mercy, and what do you know? Detroit Mercy couldn't miss and almost won. A 1-30 team almost won a game, and I bet against them. Florida, Alabama. Alabama can't stop anybody. They are horrific on defense.
I was on the Gators tonight. Are you buying into the Gators at all? Are they just a good team at home? But they are playing well. Like they're coming together, this team.
No, they are. And I think that's the key, man. they had so many new kids, right? I mean, Clayton and Poland and Samuel and all these different guys. The coach is still young, but you look at it, the goal is by the end of the year, by March 1st, having some continuity, having some cohesiveness. It seems like they've really caught on, and they're playing great basketball. Their offense is really good. I mean, they're a top 20 offense in the country. They play a really nice pace. Yeah, I'm definitely buying them. I think they're a really interesting team in the SEC as far as the tournament's concerned. I think they can knock off a Tennessee or a Kentucky. Absolutely.
As you stated, too, it took a little while, but you can see the chemistry that they have. They like each other, and you can see their confidence growing as well. Wins like tonight will grow their confidence. I made a mistake tonight, and I sort of knew it. I should have abandoned ship in game, but with Illinois and Purdue, Illinois were in it. Illinois had the lead. Purdue pulled away late like good teams do, but frustrating loss for Illinois and Illinois backers.
Yeah, I will say this is one of the more frustrating nights of basketball. It's not been the greatest year for me. This was a frustrating one. I mean, it is time and time again, I cannot get a team to keep a lead. Listen, Purdue's very frustrating. They're hard to – they're just annoying. I mean, they always seem to get every call. And look, Illinois couldn't make anything tonight.
We'll hit that and more on the other side. This is SportsRage.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of the sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
4.22, the fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. I am Gabriel Morency, kicking it with big man on campus. We're breaking it down, talking a little college basketball. We'll get into some NFL as well. You know, big man, with Caitlin Clark breaking the record, and they're talking about her all-time points and all this type stuff. I always go back to my main man, and with the NCAA tournament coming up, it always amazes me. I was going to say, I don't know why he doesn't get more love. And, you know, as when people talk about great runs and great players and stuff, and he's my favorite player is Glenn Rice, all right? But Glenn Rice, and with the NCAA tournament coming up, you know, I was thinking about, all right, I saw an article, you know, which players can impact, who can carry a team to a championship. And a record that I don't think is ever going to be broken, bro. Glenn Rice, Michigan Wolverines, 1989, 184 points scored in the NCAA tournament. So he played in all 6 games, and he averaged over 30 points a game in 6 games. You just won't see that ever again. You know, it was the greatest, and, you know, no one ever talks about it. It's funny. It's Caitlin Clark this, and everyone, Maravich this, and everyone that. I'm thinking, well, you know, a guy that actually scored 184 points in the damn tournament and won the tournament was Glenn Rice. So I think he deserves some love. But,
you know, I think you're right. It's not ever going to be beaten. I think there's a guy that could get close. I could see Edey getting close to that. I mean, if Edey drops 25 in every game, they go all the way to the final.
They need to win all 6. That's the key to do it. You got to win all 6, and you got to average over 30 a game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Could Edey drop like 43 or something in one game to sort of like get a head start on it? You know what I mean?
That is quite the record. I never really.
Like big man, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I brought it up. Yeah, I don't expect it's 1989, but exactly. Think about it, big man. 184 points in 6 games, bro. It's a lot of points.
And you also need to win games, right? I mean, it's all about stabilizing yourself in the tournament, and then obviously playing well on top of it, game after game after game. I mean, that's impressive, man, to do it that much.
So you mentioned, I was thinking about a big man. I want to bring it because you talking about Purdue, and you're like, man, they're an annoying team. And I was thinking like Zach Edey, he's the runaway favorite for player of the year and all this stuff, but he doesn't get any hype. Like there ain't no lineups outside of arenas, you know what I mean, to go see the kid play. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of, you know, they're not flashy. He's not flashy, but he could. You talked about them. Is this their year? Is this Purdue's year that they're able to pull it off? Are they better than Houston? Are they better than UConn? I don't know, man. Let me just say one last thing. You know this. The Big Ten blows, bro. It's not even good, the Big Ten. So how good are Purdue anyways?
Well, I can say the same thing, though. I don't think the Big East is very good either, outside of Marquette.
Yeah, I would agree with you with that. We can't say the same thing about the Big 12 where Houston's coming from. Those guys are battle-tested.
But it is going to be really hard to beat Purdue. And I always go back to the thought of they have one thing that a lot of these teams, in fact, none of these teams have. They have a chip on their shoulder because they lost last year to a 16 seed, right? And then that's a lot of motivation for a team, man.
And Virginia did it and then won the championship. So it's like they're too.
Exactly. And that's for me why – I mean, we saw it tonight. I mean, Illinois threw everything they could at them. The kitchen sink, they were up, 6-7 points at half. You should find a way to put that game away, and they couldn't. Illinois was a perfect spot tonight, weren't they? Terrence Shannon didn't play the first time. He was playing tonight. They were at home. You know, the line screamed Illinois, and Purdue found a way to win. So I will say another kid that I think could break that record, Dalton Connect.
I was just going to ask you about Tennessee Volunteer. So
yeah,
he can go off, right? I don't think we can get to 184, but are you buying in that the Vols are serious? You and I talked about him. You got that Rick Barnes factor type thing. He hasn't had success, but they meet all the metrics, right? Tough schedule, top 10 offense, top 10 defense, star player. They have all the criteria that you need to win.
And remember, they have not had an offense this good in a long time, right? I mean, this offense is really good. They already have a great defense. We know that. Look, it's tailed off at times, but again, it's you look at some of the teams you play in this conference, it is up and down. You know, the Alabamas, the Auburns. Yeah, I really like Tennessee, and he is a star.
Dude, he scored 39 points on Auburn, 31 against South Carolina, 39 against the Florida Gators, bro, 36 on Georgia. This kid really could break that record.
He scored 30 or more a lot this year. I mean, I've said, look, Edey's great. Connect is must watch. I mean, he's one of them Kemba type of kids that, Kemba took them all the way, to win the title. He could do that. He's that good a player. Yeah. And remember, he came from Northern Colorado, a transfer.
Yeah, junior Colorado. Yeah, junior college route. Fun player to watch. R.J. Davis, North Carolina. He's another explosive player. North Carolina, people don't really talk about them too much, but they're definitely talented enough, big man. They've got the players, and they've got the postseason experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, Baycott's been there since Michael Jordan was there. It's amazing. I mean, he has been there so long.
I know.
But you're right. I mean, they've done a nice job. And the thing about them is last couple of years haven't been able to defend at all. They're really good on defense. And I think moving on from Caleb Love and getting R.J. Davis has been a nice, I think, thought for both teams. Arizona's benefited from him, and R.J. Davis has benefited.
So we talk about the Houston Cougars, and these guys, man, just perennially knocking on the door. I can't help but think back years ago, man, when we were in Vegas and Jordan Poole hit the shot against Houston, right? Like these guys, it's been a long process of pain for the Houston Cougars. Yet we talk about them being battle-tested. You said you're not – everyone wants to anoint UConn. I'm not really ready to do it. UConn never win, big man, when people think they're going to win. UConn win championships when people think they're no good. Like, there's been the pattern with this team. Listen, the Big Ten, it was like the first time Purdue played like a ranked team in like a month or something. Like, the Big Ten is not that good this year. Not taking anything away from Purdue, but we know that Houston are battle-tested, and Sheed is a player that's good enough to win a game for you. Like, that's my whole point. Like, who has, like, which teams have players that are good enough to say, you know what, I can win this game?
But I guess the one thing I would ask and say to you is, and listen, I love Houston. I'm just kind of devil's advocate for 1 second. They played Kansas once and got dominated. Okay.
Yeah.
They played the other best team twice, Iowa State, won one and lost one. Their non-conference
went to overtime with Baylor. There's not a lot of,
right.
Like I said, I think Baylor are very good too. They're like
lost that game. Could have lost that game. And throw in the fact that they're 221st in non-conference strength of schedule. Okay, they didn't have the Maui Invitational that they played and stuff like that. I like Houston, but I just get the feeling it's going to be that same old problem late in the game where they have 62 points and they can't score enough. I
can't. That's been the pattern. Something's got to give.
And one thing that I've also noticed, they cannot defend without fouling. They look at their foul rate. It's very high. It's very concerning with this team because
it's a good point. Know you're going to put good teams on the free throw line in the tournament.
Yeah. It's very concerning.
Checking in right now, UNLV off to a strong start. They're winning 15-5. How about that, big man? San Diego State only have 5 points 9 minutes into this game right now. You talked about the total. Dude, it might still be a low number right now. It's still 127.5. We only have 20 points in this game. 16-5 now.
Yeah. Listen, San Diego State, this is kind of a reminiscent spot of the Colorado State game a couple of weeks ago where they got about 44 in the first half and 14 in the second half. Remember, they completely clamped down in the second half. This game seemingly is reminiscent of that one. They started out really slow in that game as well.
Right now, the Aztecs are plus 215 on the money line. They're getting 4.5, and Nevada are up 13-10 on Boise State. We're also played 10 minutes. There's 10:04 left in the first half. 13-10, low score in there as well. 13-10 for the Wolfpack. They're getting 2.5 now.
They're under the 10-minute mark and only have 21 points in that San Diego State game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now it's 18-5 UNLV.
23 under 10 minutes. They're on pace for what? Like 55-ish? They'll get to like 55.
That's what I'm saying. Like the 127.5 is still high. You know what I mean? Like at this rate. San Diego State, they got to be careful not to like dig too much of a hole here. You know what I mean? They're not really built to be coming back like this.
The issue they have is they're not a good road team. And they're going to have to whip themselves into shape quick because this tournament is not it's not at home.
And, normally they play well in UNLV. The Mountain West tournament is there. They've done well in that. They do, like I said, they haven't lost to UNLV in forever. They lost last time in 2020, but UNLV are balling, man. They come out strong, but you and I both know UNLV can't be trusted here, big man. They can easily blow this lead.
and the thing is, we're getting down to the end of the season. These games don't mean that much, do they? They're all going to play each other and catalyze each other in the Mountain West tournament. That's going to be a great tournament. You get the West Coast Conference. I'll tell you again, I'm going to keep pounding the drum. I'm going to pound the drum. Mark Few, baby. Gonzaga. Get familiar. They're playing well.
Big wins Thursday and Saturday. I was really kicking myself, big man, because I took them on Thursday night against the Dons. I was like, they're going to smoke the Dons. And I got cute and said, well, I don't know if they're going to go back to back. I should have known. They were going to send a message to St. Mary's. Hey, we're still better than you.
And they're a favorite to win the tournament.
We'll hit this on the other side. You're right. They're a dangerous team.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. It's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
4.22, the fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
is Sports Rage. I'm kicking it with Big Man on campus, and many people have fond memories of me and Big Man on Saturday nights, getting really stupid and crazy and betting big money on virtual sports and virtual soccer and stuff like that. I don't do it too often, Big Man. I dipped in, and it's always after a couple of drinks. I can't lie. I never do it sober. But I don't know what it was. One of those nights, there was nothing on. It was like 4 a.m. I was like, man, it's not even like a soccer game in Thailand on right now. And I was like, oh, boy, all right. Let me hit some of this virtual stuff. And I got in and out. You know what I mean? I got in and out quick, but I stay away. But I know you've been betting a lot of the ponies. And I'm taking a look right now. Cam likes to get into this stuff in the late night hours. We got all these real degen tracks in Australia now, bro.
I'm betting a little Warwick Farm right now.
Warwick Farm. So what's this? Where's this one?
Australia.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. All right. So we got Piercing Arrow, McHale, Rock Hard Love. As a rocker, I almost got to go with Rock Hard Love, bro.
I got to pick 4. I got to pick 4 here. I got the 1 and the 12 in this one.
You go to 1 and a 12. Disney Castle.
Yeah, a little pick 4 action. 20-cent pick 4. $14.40.
I'm going to jump in on the 7 horse to just like place and show here. Let me get in on this. Now we're having some fun here now.
Hard
Yeah. I figure as a rocker, it's destined. I picked a horse last week on the air. It was called Annihilator. Yeah. No, at $7.50. You know what I mean? I make a couple of bucks. I'm gonna play win play show. You know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy here.
Yeah.
Win play show.
I love it.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry guys, let me get this in. Here we go. Horse racing.
Gotta love Warwick Farm. That's why I love Australia, because it's like way ahead of us, you know.
Oh, I got to go into the live. Yeah, no, exactly, dude. It's like they say. It's always happy hour somewhere, huh? All right, so there's always something somewhere. All right, here we go. View full race. All right, so yeah, the 7, Rock Hard Love, win place show. Let's rock.
I'm also betting Doombin as well. That's coming up here. I got the 3, Caxton Lass. I like that horse as well.
All right.
Little
we also
Doombin.
have we got some harness as well. You got going on. Oh, they're Ominaru. I think they're in Japan.
That's Japan.
You know they had.
Yeah, I don't go that.
Yeah.
I don't go that deep. Japan harness. I don't do that.
Yeah, Japan. I didn't know they're not big on harness racing in Japan. It caught me off guard. That. You know what I bet in Japan I've seen before is sprint. No turns, bro. It's just like on turf. It just goes
like
straight.
Quarter horses. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no turn. It's just boom, and it's like a sprint race. It's pretty cool if you're a degenerate. It's fast. You know what I'm saying?
They usually have that like late, like Friday nights, Los Alamitos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Friday nights.
Remington Park, they do it as well.
All right, so let's check back in with UNLV. For the record, guys, it's still 1-0. We talked about it being a low-scoring game tonight in L.A. with the Canucks. It is. So that's the good news. We're on the under. The bad news is we're on the Vancouver Canucks as well, and they're losing 1-0, but it is only 1-0. It's a close game. They're on the power play right now. Eventually, they've got to bury one of these power play opportunities. Phoenix are up on Denver, 86-76 right now. 27-10 for UNLV over San Diego State. UNLV, go fight, win. They're winning and fighting so far tonight. And it's 23-23, Boise State and Nevada. There's some interesting games on the card here tomorrow, big man, collegiately as well. But I agree with you. And I don't like this time of the year, actually, right now in college basketball. It's the calm before the storm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of these teams are going through the motions. They've got the March Madness on their mind. I mean, some teams are jockeying again to the tournament and stuff, teams like St. John's or whatnot, but I'm not a fan of this, too. And to be honest, I like the lower-tier conference college tournaments, but the bigger ones, a lot of them are just stupid. Like, the Big Ten one is a good example. They play their final on Sunday. They beat the crap out of each other, and then you're playing in the NCAA tournament on Thursday. So, like, if you're Purdue, you make it to the final, it's almost better to get bounced early, bro. I swear to God, you get bounced early your conference tournament. You're able to, you can practice and get ready for the NCAA tournament. I agree that this is kind of a dumb time of the year right now, especially in the big conferences. These games don't mean anything to a lot of these teams.
Yeah, I remember
Doesn't
one
mean they're
time
not trying, but they don't mean anything to them. They don't care.
I remember I argued some time with someone. They were like, "Oh, conference tournaments are so important." I said, "No, they aren't. No one cares." And then the guy tried to say that a regular season title means a lot to a school, and I said, that means even less. The only thing I would care about in March is cutting down the nets wherever the Final Four is. That's what I want. I want to win the NCAA tournament.
I will say, big man, that coaches respect winning. Like if you ask, because anyone can get lucky and win your conference tournament. You know, and
but
that's
hanging
what people
a banner
remember.
for a regular season is who cares?
It's debatable. So yeah, you wouldn't hang a banner for winning like a. I don't have a problem with that. Look, teams, college basketball is different. Teams hang a banner, big man, for making the Final Four, even if they lose, which I'm not really, you know what I mean? It's like, well, you lost. It's like hanging like a Super Bowl banner if you lost the Super Bowl or something. You know what I'm saying? So you're against the Lakers hanging their mini banner for the in-season tournament then, I guess.
No, yeah, I don't care. Even like when they won the what did they call it when they had the bubble thing? Didn't they win it that year as well? Yeah, the bubble tournament.
Yeah.
Like, no, but look, if I'm in March, I want to get to the NCAA tournament and I want to make a run and I want to win. And right now for me, I'm focusing the rest of this week on like a bubble game, that kind of game, and conference tournaments. Like I'm done screwing around with the Purdue, Illinois type games that mean very little. I mean, that meant nothing to Illinois. It just doesn't mean anything in the long term.
No, like you said, it wouldn't have changed Illinois' life if they won the game. And if Purdue would have lost the game, it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't be like, oh, Purdue are vulnerable going into the tournament. It would have been nothing. If anything, it does show it shows Purdue's toughness a bit. You know what I mean? Like, Purdue's the real deal. They go in there and get it done. But a team that is on the bubble and has responded since Pitino called them out is the Red Storm. 104-77 over DePaul. They still have some work to do right now. DePaul blow, obviously, but they're up to 18-12. What's your take on the Red Storm?
Yeah, the problem that they had is the last 3 games of the season, they played Butler, DePaul, and Georgetown. Games that are not going to help them at all. They're in a really tough spot. I mean, they're going to have a really good performance in a Big East tournament. They are right on the bubble. I have them out, I believe. I don't have my thing in front of me, but they have some work to do. They're right on the bubble. They need to hope other teams lose. Wake, I believe, lost tonight. That's good for St. John's. That's helpful. You want the bubble teams to lose around you. They need a Villanova to lose tomorrow, something like that. St. John's, I think they'll find their way in because they do have Pitino, and that means I think some dollars, and it would look good. But they're on the out right now.
Looking at the overnight numbers for tomorrow's game, somebody's game's on the card. Villanova and Seton Hall. Speaking of the Big East, Seton Hall -1.5 against Villanova. You're in Philadelphia. Big man, what's your take on this Villanova team? Take it on the Pirates tomorrow.
Yeah, they're playing pretty good basketball right now. I think this is going to be a really tough game, though. They blew out Seton Hall. I want to say this was on Super Bowl Sunday. It was early Super Bowl Sunday. Blew out Seton Hall. This is a big revenge game for the Hall. They're right on the bubble, squarely on the bubble. They desperately need a win. I think this is a good spot to back the Hall coming off the loss on the weekend against UConn, a game I think a lot of people thought they'd lose. I'm also going to be on Marquette tomorrow. That's another great spot. Big revenge angle. UConn blew out Marquette a couple of weeks ago. Now they get it in their building. Looks like everybody's healthy again for Marquette. That's a big, big game tomorrow night in Milwaukee. I like Marquette to get the job done here. Kind of reminds you of that Creighton spot a couple of weeks ago for Creighton against UConn.
And sort of that theme that we were just talking about. So those games matter. You just talked about Seton Hall. This is like a tournament game it's a must-win game for Seton Hall. But a perfect example is sort of a team that doesn't care really. I'm not saying they don't take the court thinking we don't care if we win or lose, but it's got to be annoying for them just knowing we've got to go through these games. Is a team like Houston tomorrow, laying 8.5 on the road against Central Florida, right? It's not like, the kids on Houston Cougars are super excited about this game. It's like, all right, let's get the game and get it over with and win and move on. I mean, right now, if you're Samson, you just don't want to get guys hurt, basically.
I think the goal is obviously the 1 seed. I mean, that's something as well. But yeah, I think for me, that's the issue. You just want to get to the tournament. You just want to get to games that matter. And that's why I just don't bet a lot of these games, late in the season. They don't mean much. You look at a team tonight like Vermont. Vermont's already tied up the 1 seed in the America East. They go and play New Hampshire tonight, 8.5-point favorite. I think they won by 3, and they just don't care about the game.
Yeah, they won by 4, 68-64, I think, in the end only. Yeah. I like them to win their tournament. Like, they're going to win. It's up to minus 275 now. But when we were going to the break before, actually, I want to get back to it. So you're going to bet on Gonzaga to win the West Coast Conference tournament in Las Vegas?
I am. Before I get into that, Gabe, I just want to give you an update from Doomben in Australia. I bet a horse at 4-1, closing line 6-5. The horse loses at the wire to a 51-1 horse. Seriously?
I'm looking right now. Our race at Warwick hasn't gone off yet, evidently.
Yeah, we got a couple of minutes. But yeah, I like Gonzaga a lot. This team is playing so well right now. And I'll tell you, I mentioned this on Saturday. St. Mary's is just not the same team without Josh Jefferson, the 6'8 sophomore. He played really big for them. They've won games, but the game that mattered, they got beat up in. I think, we know Gonzaga is just dominant in this tournament. I mean, they win it every year. St. Mary's is in the NCAA tournament field. Obviously, I'm not telling you they're not going to play hard, but I think Gonzaga is hard to bet against right now. I think they're surely the best team in this conference. They are scoring at will right now. Really impressive stuff, this team, the last 3 weeks or so.
Especially with them not getting the regular season championship. Few are going to want to get something on the way out here and get the conference championship. For the record, San Diego State have fought back. Suddenly we got a game here. The pendulum has swung a little bit, 29-23. Yeah, the Aztecs have gone on a run. Tennessee are laying 5.5 on the road against South Carolina tomorrow night. So the Gamecocks are 5.5-point home dogs. You talked about Marquette. Marquette are also getting 5. I got burnt last week on the Dayton game against Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago are +1 against Davidson. And we'll wrap up with big man on the other side. Kentucky are laying 18.5 to Vanderbilt tomorrow night. Texas A&M -1.5. And the covering machines that they are.
Are they good enough, Kentucky, defensively to lay 18 to anybody? What do they care about?
A lot
that
of points.
Game?
A lot of points. Minnesota 5-point favorites tomorrow against Indiana.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
4.22, the fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Our poll question, and we don't do a daily poll question, but I did one today about Saquon Barkley, was where do you think he's going to end up? And I put 4 teams on the list. You can only put 4 options in a Twitter poll question. And I put kind of the favorites of the betting board, kind of. Like the Texans are the favorites right now, big man. It's pretty much even money. It's like minus 110 that he goes to the Texans. The Cowboys are the second choice. And the Chargers are in the mix. I think the Bears actually are a team that people are sleeping on for Saquon Barkley. Like, it would not surprise me if Barkley ended up on the Bears. That's plus 900. I put the Eagles in the list. For the record, the Eagles are like 16-1 to 20-1 at other spots and stuff. I could see the Eagles going like Austin Eckler or Derrick Henry, one of the shorter-term deals for less money at the running back position than Saquon Barkley in the end. But who knows, right? The Eagles always seem to find a way.
Yeah, I could see Baltimore. That could be a spot for Saquon Barkley as well, possibly. I just don't think the Eagles are going to spend a bunch of money for a free agent running back. And I feel like if they were or considered even looking at someone, why not just bring back DeAndre Swift, I think they're going to draft a running back. It's just not something that I think is really that high on the totem pole. They have a lot of things they have to address on defense. They need to go out and get a third receiver. I think that's much more of a need, at least to me. They have 2 really good receivers. But Dallas Goedert, tight end-wise, hasn't lived up to, I think, what they thought he would be the last year or two. They need another receiver. I think they spent a little money there maybe. I just don't think they're going to spend a bunch on a running back.
Not to mention Jason Kelce officially retires. And
yeah,
he said he could have went back. He had a $9 million offer for another year, but I guess he wants to hit the TV booth and ride the Kelce fame right now.
Definitely a top 3 Eagle of all time, I think, surely. I mean, the guy was just terrific. I mean, he's been here a long time. 6th-round pick.
All right, dude's a stud. Yeah, wouldn't have won all those games without him, man. He's just such a key ingredient, key cog of that team. Thanks, big man.